Let's hear Tim Pool, anti-war Tim Pool, talk about why we should invade Venezuela.
Looking more and more like war with Venezuela is on the menu, boys. Donald Trump has given Maduro
Pause it for a second. Why does he now deliver the news as if he's doing like some type of wrestling, ringside wrestling?
Zoo time. What is it?
Yeah,
Morning zoo.
Morning zoo.
It's the central anxiety here because Tim knows that he is ostensibly supposed to be an anti-war person, so he can throw it into guest face like he did with Emma. But he also supports Donald Trump, so he needs to have his reservation sort of be parenthetical and his reading of the news just very enthusiastic.
No, you know what it is?
Just reading the menu, boys.
It is. There is a slight ironic quality to the way he's doing it.
It's a detachment.
It is a detachment. It's interesting because, a lot of my friends, when comedians would have trouble doing ads, like when you go in to do a voiceover, you're like, this is just too cheesy. And I don't believe this. And I have to indicate in some fashion. And so you get into an announcer voice. And because I'm actually playing a character here. And so let's look at what's up here with what's going on with the ongoing possibility of war in Venezuela, everyone. Because that's what it is. It's the detachment.
Yep.
He's doing this at arm's length, and he's either subconsciously or even consciously, I'm going into my announcer voice.
Yep.
Let's go over to the big board and check out what's happening over there. Or actually, I am getting a report. Let's go to Kathy Pomegranate, who is reporting live from... God.
Yeah, what's that Trump up to now?
Yeah.
War with Venezuela is on the menu, boys. Donald Trump has given Maduro an ultimatum to flee Venezuela as land operations loom. Warships are reportedly entering the area, and Donald Trump has de facto closed the airspace around Venezuela. Now, a lot of people are debating this, but it
Pause
is
it for
in
1
fact
second. Let's just check in with the words de facto. Can we get a definition check on de facto? He claims that Donald Trump has de facto closed airspace there. In fact, no. What Donald Trump did is he announced it on Truth Social and saying that you're closing the airspace. That is not a de facto. De facto is what is in reality. So in facto, it was not de facto. Back to you, Tim.
Act of war to declare. Now, a lot of people are debating this, but it is in fact an act of war to declare the airspace closed over a country for a variety of reasons. Now, the reason Trump is doing it likely is because as the U.S. prepares to engage in military operations in Venezuela, we don't want anybody getting mixed up in a crossfire. You're going to have flights traveling from various countries that are going to go over Venezuela, usually because you're just, flying from Brazil to Mexico or something, if that route makes sense. I don't know. But Donald Trump is basically saying we are about to launch airstrikes. Not necessarily going to happen, but that's basically the idea. So now you're restricting domestic air travel over a country, which is going to restrict trade. It's going to cost a lot of money. And you're basically saying prepare for war. Hillary Clinton famously was warned of this back in, I think it was like 2014 or 15.
What?
She said she wanted the airspace over Syria closed. And she was warned that would be a declaration of war, not just against Syria, but against Russia. Now, this is different.
Little Dems do it too, actually.
I mean, it's unbelievable how much they fall back on that. It's like, I don't know. He's talking about the no-fly zone over Syria I understood, but was he upset about that at the time? It's just very odd to
I mean, he's probably
use that
anti-war
as an
because
example.
Obama was in office.
Right,
Which
okay.
which is why they're saying, like, now see, well, the Democrats do it too, so it's not so bad. That
Right. And listen, war is on the menu, and there's a lot of times where Democrats have come in and ordered off that same menu.
I do like that he's quoting the orc from Lord of the Rings, right? That's what when he says, meat's back on the menu, boys. That's from Lord of the Rings. Oh, no.
Skid Mark Twain writes in.
Shit.
Skid Mark Twain writes in, I'm outside in single digits wearing a beanie. Had to take it off when I heard Tim's voice. But wait a second. Let's go back to Tim as he's telling us about what's going to happen with the war. Even though he is very much anti-war, he's going to be talking about this as if it's like, whoopsie daisy. Let's see how much carnage we get down there. Go ahead.
And she was warned that would be a declaration of war, not just against Syria, but against Russia. Now, this is different. In Syria, in Tartus, you have a Russian naval base, so they do have air capabilities. And if the United States shuts down that airspace, that's affecting Russia. Venezuela may or may not have some of these same elements, but it's not as direct.
Wait,
Either
can you?
way,
Wait. Shutting down Venezuelan airspace is not as direct to Venezuela as shutting down Syrian airspace is
direct
to Russia.
Right. So you can shut down basically any airspace of any country under this standard as long as it isn't in the middle of a proxy war and doesn't have the backing of another major superpower. Okay. Which means the U.S. can do whatever the hell it wants unless Russia likes the country.
Let's not get bogged down with something like that. Let's get back to wars on the menu. Go ahead.
And that airspace, that's affecting Russia. Venezuela may or may not have some of these same elements, but it's not as direct. Either way,
What elements?
The U.S. is signaling hard. Ladies and gentlemen, war is about to land. And Maduro, you got a choice to flee, which is absolutely crazy. Apparently, Maduro, the Venezuelan dictator.
Can we get to the part where Tim stops just reading the first paragraph of the article he's found on this and move into the part where he expresses his opinion of it? Do we have a time code, Mr. Time Code Master?
We got a couple minutes before the first ad, so you must put it before the first ad breakout.
Okay, let's check in on that.
Which is absolutely crazy. Apparently, Maduro, the Venezuelan dictator, they call him, who famously once ate an empanada on TV as his people were starving, is asking for global amnesty.
Can you pause it?
Now, let me tell you what's really...
I know what you're thinking. How big of an empanada was that?
Trump is bulldozing a part of the White House for a ballroom as he cuts the health care for tens of millions of Americans.
Empanada is just something Venezuelans eat.
Can I just tell you that empanada was made out of pure gold, and he ate it right on camera. Go ahead.
Dictator Lee, which is absolutely crazy. Apparently, Maduro, the Venezuelan dictator, they call him, who famously once ate an empanada on TV as his people were starving, is asking for global amnesty. Now, let me tell you what's really sad about Venezuela, my friends. I've been there. I had to flee the country. Weird story.
What?
They accused me of being a spy because they're communists. Their country used to be the wealthiest in South America. They have a lot of black gold down there, a lot of oil. Everybody wants it. Donald Trump says we're going to get it. And that's likely the big reason for all of this. But I'm not going to be so naive to say it's just that the U.S. is basically going, let's steal their oil. What the U.S. is basically saying is, your stupid communist system is restricting the oil trade. We're not going to have that. I'm not excusing U.S. foreign military
What's the difference?
What?
We're not going to steal the oil. We're just going to destroy the state ownership of the oil so that it can be
We're just
taken.
going, we're not literally going to steal the oil. What we're going to do is open it up to be monetized by our own people.
We're going to redistribute the oil from the communist country?
We're not going to steal from your house. We're just going to break in the door, and then my friends are going to come in and steal from your house.
Okay, so I will say we could go for the next couple minutes here to watch the intro where he does not issue any condemnation, or we could jet ahead about 8 minutes.
Let's jet ahead 8 minutes because we'll get back.
Because war is touching down or landing.
It's 11 past the hour.
It's it's 11 past the hour and 68 degrees outside. Make sure you bring windbreaker though. It's a little windy. Meanwhile, we're getting back to taking the oil from Venezuela.
I'm not doing this properly, okay? Maduro, however, and his ilk don't have that view. He hasn't looked at his country over the past 20 years and said, wow, we've destroyed the standard of living in this country. I should let someone else try. He says, I'm going to eat an empanada on TV. So again, that's not to justify any kind of U.S. intervention. I'm actually opposed to it. I don't think Trump should be doing this. Not a fan. No new wars.
Again, this is 10 minutes into the video.
It's nearly
I'm just going to give you about 10 minutes worth of reasons why we should probably do it, because this guy's eating empanadas on television.
8 minutes on the TV empanada.
But I just want to remind you that I am against this, even though they have screwed up the entire world's oil trade.
I don't think Trump should be doing this. Not a fan. No new wars. I mean, we can't feed the poor, but we got money for wars, as the saying goes. I say, focus on internal.
War, what is it good for? I've always said that.
Hey, let me also just, now that I'm doing a 45-minute story on Venezuela, neglect to mention, as we talk about empanadas being eaten on television, the 20 years of economic sanctions that the United States government has imposed on Venezuela, the multiple coup attempts that we've been engaged in there. Incidentally, those sanctions also shared by our good allies across the pond, as it were. Okay, anyways, just forget I even mentioned that.
It's a good question for Tim Pool fans. You know, like when you think about this authoritarianism of these scumbag communist regimes, as Tim calls them, has America got more or less? Does it get more or less authoritarian when foreign influence becomes a concern of the population? Like it becomes clearly more authoritarian. That's how this authoritarianism gets formed.
You know, divisions. How we can mend this country and preserve it.
Oh, we can be done. But one thing about, you know, you can't feed the poor, but there's money for war. It's like, how about we feed the poor and also don't do wars?
But that's what I was saying to him back when we had our debate, where it's like, how can you say that you are anti-war and support the funding of Israel, which is the top recipient of our military aid? Like, none of that's even addressed.
I'm not familiar with what you're talking about there.
Give him some credit for not wanting to wade into areas he's not an expert.
He's not an expert at that. Yeah.
Very
cautious. There it is.
Back on the menu.
Yeah.
Back on the menu. And apparently, Emma was correct.
I saw those IMs.
Was correct about her citing the what are the
I'm just
Lord
as big
of the
of a
Rings
dork
trilogy.
as
Oh, no,
saw
everyone
Emma's.
thought you were right. It's just that we didn't get the deep cut for the Lord of the Rings.
It's not that deep.
Turns out that
It's
was
in the
not
Two
a
Towers,
deep
which
cut,
is the best film, and not in the extended version.
Not a deep cut.
So you're saying if this was you, it would be pretty embarrassing.
If Caitlin Collins spoke to me that way, it might break my heart too. It's just too intimidating.
If this was you would probably never show your face.
I'm gonna retire.
Hey folks, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and check out our daily show. We do it every day at 12 p.m. Eastern for about 2.5 hours. We even take phone calls. You should check that out.